Yeah, until we left.
Awesome, I can wait. Yeah, no.
Back up, okay, there is a
I'm gonna be up front, man.
The pilot that I had, he was confined, he was with a Navy for 20 years, and he's been flying for 20 years with Continental. He's only 52, so I don't know how he handled that, but whatever. He's been flying since he was 16, and they had his brothers, and they had a bike with him, and they used to do it off the business.
I just don't know how much I like randomly need to take with him getting strapped into the plane. You know?
I know, yeah, you're right. You would get it taken off, right?
Yeah,
Then you
no,
won't
I'll
be able to
definitely get
see
it
him.
taken off and landed.
I don't know how long we'll be able to see him.
How cool is this?
You look good, David.
What?
You look good.
Yeah. Clear front.
I know, it's intense.
between the trees. Take that loop. It must be taxing because he's going a little crooked. Yep. Merry Christmas, David.
Yeah, sorry, Emma.
Shane, do you want a t-shirt? I'm going to get one for your dad.
You get your wings or not?
9.4, 1637.
You probably notice right off the bat how blind we are looking straight ahead in this airplane, which is pretty typical of most of the World War II tail draggers. So when we taxi, we've got to weave or S-turn back and forth.
Jet 258, read back is correct.
Semi-ground, Texan 2, coming out of Warbirds 430.
Texan 2, Pacific ground, cross runway 33, straight ahead, taxi to runway 33.
All right, we will cross runway 33 straight ahead on Charlie, taxiing to runway 33, Texan 2. All right, we're cleared all the way down to the end of the runway. Beautiful. This was a training base in World War II. Used for training the night fighter pilots in the P-61 Black Widow and the A-20 Havoc, which were great big twin-engine night fighters with all sorts of sophisticated radar equipment on board. Right. And so the Army Corps of Engineers came out in 1940 and spent 2 years building this airport up to what it is today. There's actually 3 runways. We're taxiing on one of the old runways, and then the other 2 runways are the ones that are still maintained and used today.
Very cool. One of the guys in the black sheep picture, although I didn't see him, every time I've seen the picture with the baseball bats, Jack Bolt had a pair of shorts on, and I see someone in the picture with shorts, but he was a friend of mine before he died a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, those guys did a lot of pretty heroic and awesome flying.
Yeah, he has a Navy Cross, and was on TDY with the Air Force. He had 6 kills from a Sabre as well as 6 from his Corsair. So
yeah.
He was the Navy Department's only jet prop ace.
Wow. Well, this is a Navy airplane.
Oh, so this is an SNJ?
This is an SNJ-6. So this one was built in 1945 and served up in Pensacola, Florida as an instrument trainer. And it served up and through the 1950s when they finally replaced this airplane with the T-28 Trojan.
Right.
So it's a fairly late model T-6. The production ran from 1938 all the way through 1956.
Very cool.
And here's one of the flight schools over here. We've got 4 flight schools now based here in Kissimmee doing civilian pilot training.
I live in Port Orange, and we've got Embry-Riddle.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's probably as big or bigger than all 4 of our flight schools together.
Yeah, they do a lot.
Well, you get a nice day like today, and it can get pretty busy.
Okay.
Although it's been a little bit quiet the last week or so. They must all be between classes or breaks or something.
Yeah, I think graduation. Well, my daughter graduated from UF on Saturday, so it's probably that time.
Yeah.
Now the DVD we're making, people can hear what I say, right?
Yep, everything we say is being recorded.
Okay.
I've got 3 cameras on board. I got one on the tail of the airplane looking overhead. I've got one over there on the right wingtip.
Right.
And then I've also got one up in the cockpit looking right up at you.
Okay.
And so while we're flying, I'll be switching between the 3 cameras.
Okay. And as far as the aerobatics concerned, can we do a Cubanate, a loop, or an aileron or 4-point roll?
Well, sure, we can do that. What I normally do, if you want to do the flying, is we start off with the basics, a wing over, an aileron roll, and a loop.
Okay.
And that's about all the time we have. If you want to do the more advanced maneuvers, I can certainly do those for you.
All right.
Like I said, we'll tailor this entirely to what you would like to do.
All right, cool. Well, I'd love to fly through the stuff. That's more important to me. Obviously, I'd like to fly it a little bit, but let's have a lot of fun.
Okay. All right. You want to slide your canopy forward? We're going to do our engine run-up, where we check all the engine systems. Starting with the propeller from 1600 RPM, I'm going to cycle the propeller. Verify that it responds correctly, which it does. Then 2000 RPM, we're going to check the ignition systems. Aircraft engines have 2 ignition systems on board called magnetos, and we shut them off one at a time, and that verifies that they're both working correctly. And then the last thing I'll check is the hydraulic pump, which we use to move the landing gear up and down.
Now, which category are you? Those that handed wheels up, or those that will?
Well, let's see. I haven't yet, and I don't plan on it.
Okay, cool. I heard there's 2 types, those who
Yeah.
have and those that will.
Yeah, they say that with most everything like that, so we'll just keep working on the those that will, and stay on that list as long as I can.
Sounds good.
All right, before takeoff checklist is complete, we're over to the tower. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Kissimmee Tower, Texan 2's ready to go, runway 33.
Texan 2, Kissimmee Tower, southwest approved, runway 33, cleared for takeoff.
All right, clear for takeoff, Texan 2. All right, here we go. kind of speeds things up a little bit. Power set. Climb, and we're just going to head off towards the west-southwest to clear out from under the Orlando International's airspace.
Texan 2, Bun 3, talk to you a little bit.
Bun 3, so long, Texan 2. So we've got 600 horsepower from this Pratt & Whitney 1340 cubic inch 9-cylinder radial. Probably one of the best motors, aircraft motors ever built. It's used in a wide variety of aircraft after this airplane. Quite popular with many of the larger crop dusting type airplanes, so they're still very readily available. Parts are easy to get. Like I said, this airplane was built in 1945. It's an SNJ-6 and was used as an instrument trainer up in Pensacola, which means it led a pretty gentle life. It wasn't doing aerobatics and it wasn't doing takeoffs and landings on the aircraft carriers.
That'll help keep it in good. Beautiful.
Let's see, I don't know if you're... There we go. All right, would you like to fly the airplane?
You bet.
All right, you've got the controls. You'll find it just takes a very light touch. This is a fingertip airplane.
Okay.
Even though it's a fairly large aircraft, 42-foot wingspan, 5,300-pound takeoff weight, the controls are much, much lighter than you would expect. And that's because it was designed to have the same handling and feel as a fighter-type airplane.
Okay. What do we need to do?
What's that?
And what do we need to do? Just
Right now, we're just going to keep climbing out on this heading. We need to bring the nose up just a tiny bit more. There you go. Good. And we're going to head down here. We'll get up above the clouds.
Okay.
And then we'll do some aerobatics before we got to head back. Right now we're heading out away from the Orlando International airspace. Plane had also designed and built a slightly simpler training aircraft, similar to this, but with fabric fuselage sides and a fixed landing gear. And they'd also built a fighter called the NA-50,
Right.
which was basically a clipped wing version of this airplane with the single seat cockpit. And by combining the two of those airplanes together, they came up with the perfect fighter trainer. This airplane, the Air Force called it the T-6. Before the Air Force, it was the Army Air Corps, and they called it the AT-6, which stood for Advanced Trainer.
Correct.
The Navy, as you said, called it the SNJ Texan. And then the Australians called it the Wirraway.
Right. The Canadians, the Harvard.
Right, and the UK, was also known as the Harvard.
Right.
Let's see, let's turn just a little more to the right.
Okay. Now that's aileron, not rudder, or?
That's right. You use the ailerons for to bank the wings, and as long as the wings are banked, the airplane will turn. The rudder's used just to coordinate the turn, so whenever the stick is pushed to the right, that's good heading right there, we can straighten out.
Okay.
Whenever the stick is pushed to the left of center, we'll push a little bit with the left rudder. Whenever the control stick is moved to the right of center, we push a little bit with the right stick.
Okay.
So we're going to head a little ways over here to the west, and then we're going to turn to the right and head south And that'll get us completely out from under Orlando's airspace, take us down to the aerobatic practice area. And at the same time, we're going to look for a nice gap in these clouds up here to climb up through. So North American Aviation built about 16,000 of these airplanes. The Australians built about 500 to 700 or so. And the Canadians also built this airplane under license. They manufactured about 1,000 of them. Wow. So somewhere around 17,500 of these aircraft were manufactured. All right, here, I got the airplane for just a sec. Okay. I'm going to maneuver us up here above these clouds. Kind of S-turn a little bit so that we don't end up climbing through them.
That's fine. I really don't need a lot of stick time. I'm just thrilled to be up here and flying.
All right. Well, you can see down below us a lot of the old cattle ranches, these old fields and pastures and whatnot. That's what the terrain out here mostly was back in the 1940s when they were doing all the training out here, build up for the war.
Right.
It was all cattle ranches and forest area out here in Central Florida. Most people don't realize that Florida is one of the largest producers of beef in the country. Usually you think of Kansas and Texas when you think of cattle and beef.
Right.
And in fact, one of the largest cattle ranches in the world is in Florida.
There's a big one in Leesburg, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that's the one. It's the largest in the world. Or at least the largest in the United States.
So we're at what, 5,600 roughly?
We're right now 5,500 feet. Yep. And we'll pick up a little bit of speed, and we'll head right out of here towards the practice area.
You former military?
No, all civilian flying. I was too tall, and my eyes weren't good enough to fly, so I went the civilian route. We've flown everywhere from here up to New England, up to Alaska, down into New Mexico.
I had the too tall thing in high school too. I wanted to fly fighters and they said 5'11" or shorter, and I said, but I'm 6'2".
Yep.
They said bombers, I said no.
Yeah. And we're starting to get a little bit of build-up with these clouds. They're getting a little bit taller. Earlier, they were only about a couple hundred feet thick, but as you can see now, they're starting to build up as the day heats up. So we'll have to climb up a little bit higher.
Okay.
And you can see how nice and smooth the air gets once we get up above the clouds, and the temperature will drop just a little bit, which is what makes flying down here in Florida ideal, because we get up above the clouds into this nice, cool, smooth air. A lot of places, the cloud bases are much, much higher, and we wouldn't have time to get up above the clouds, and so it'd be a much bumpier ride.
Right.
Now over on the right, that's Winter Haven. Is out there. Most people don't realize, especially those that live in Florida, how many lakes we have. Especially throughout Central Florida, you can really get an idea looking over there to the right, back and behind under these clouds, just how populated we are with lakes. They do quite a bit of seaplane training down there.
Oh, wow.
To the right, down the Winter Haven Airport also has a seaplane base. One of the lakes comes right up to the edge of the runway, so they've built some seaplane hangars and whatnot over there. And they have a fleet of J-3 Cubs that they train pilots with.
Wow.
In fact, this first lake down here on the right with the island and the peninsula in it, that's one of their most popular lakes for doing their flight training. So I'm going to come up to about 7,000 feet, then we'll level off.
Okay.
And we got about 4.5 miles to go before we hit the practice area.
We're going, what, 135?
Yeah, we're coming up on 140. This airplane will cruise at about 160. Right now our ground speed's 156 miles an hour and increasing. Because we're up high into this thinner air, our indicated airspeed is a little bit lower than our actual speed.
Right.
And so of our three Texans, this is the fastest of the three. Like I said, this one will cruise about 155, or I'm sorry, about 160. The others cruise between 150 and 155. It just happens to be a much truer airframe.
Do a lot better job of keeping that ball centered than I did.
Well, I got a little more practice. So yeah, now we're up to 170 miles an hour ground speed. Maximum speed on this airplane at full power is about 210 miles an hour.
Wow.
They race these at Reno every year at the big international championship air races.
Yeah,
and they do, what's that?
That's on my list of things to do someday.
Yeah.
Go.
Well, they have a stock T6 SNJ class.
Right.
And they do about 250 miles an hour with them.
Yeah. Yeah, they had some problems last year, didn't they?
Yeah, every year there's always going to be something. It's a pretty demanding sport that they're involved in. So.
But Rare Bear's still kicking butt.
Yeah, Rare Bear's still king of the hill. I used to live out in Reno, so I got to go to the races all through the late 70s and early 80s. And that was back when Rare Bear was raced on a budget.
Uh-huh. That's in Tiger's Day, right?
Yep. All right, we're doing a couple of clearing turns. We're going to make sure the area is clear before we set up for the acro.
That's a good idea.
And what I'll do is I'll show you an aileron roll first.
Okay.
And then a loop, and then we'll do some Cuban 8s. Both plain Cubans and reverse Cubans. All right, everything looks clear. Everything's set up for aerobatics. All right, here we go. For each maneuver, since we're leaving the power set at cruise, we're going to dive for airspeed. In this case, for an aileron roll, I'll dive it to 175 miles an hour. We're going to bring the nose up about 30 degrees, and then apply full aileron and roll her right around.
How cool is that?
All right, how was that?
I loved it.
Okay.
That was awesome.
All right, well, now we'll do a loop. That needs a little more speed, about 185 miles an hour.
Okay.
And then we'll do a 3G pull. As the nose comes straight up, we're going to look to the right wingtip. And then as we go over the top, we'll look straight ahead.
Yeah, boy. Hey, Shane, he's doing pilot shit.
And then the nose coming back down right through our own wake turbulence.
Yeah.
And there we go. There's the loop and the aileron roll.
Awesome. Just awesome.
And now I'm going to put those two together in a barrel roll. We'll point our nose right over the lake here. All right, barrel roll has the same entry speed as the aileron roll, about 175 miles an hour. And for the barrel roll, we're going to start pulling back just like we did in a loop. But as the nose comes up, we're also going to roll the airplane at the same time.
Oh,
So as we go through inverted, we're going to have about a 90-degree heading change. And then our nose will come right back up to where we started, heading to the southeast. And there we go.
You're awesome, man.
All right. All right, now you ready for a Cuban 8?
You bet.
All right, here we go. We'll do it right on this heading. So nose down, 185 miles an hour because we're starting with a loop.
Right.
And we go a 3G pull, bringing the nose right straight up. Looking to the wingtip as we go over the top and then straight ahead. We're going to let the nose down to about a 45-degree angle and roll the airplane back upright.
How awesome is
And we'll do the same thing again for the back half of the Cuban, right through our own wake turbulence again. 3G pull.
He pops. He's smoother than Jaeger.
All right, there's the Cuban 8.
Oh.
All right, we'll circle back over the lake and we'll do the reverse Cuban 8. I just love days like this when we're up here with the clouds. It really gives you a point of reference.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
And increases the sensation of speed and movement. All right, right over here on this heading. Now we'll do the reverse Cuban 8.
Oh.
So for this one, we're going to start with a 45-degree upline. And we're going to let the airplane slow down. As it comes down to about 100 miles an hour, we're going to roll the airplane upside down. Stop the roll. And then do the back half of a loop.
Didn't that nice? They pay you to do this.
Yeah. Well, some guys out here get to do this in a Mustang.
Yeah, that's sweet. I'll work up to that one.
Well, this has got a whole lot more room in it than a Mustang.
Yeah.
All right, you asked about the 4-point roll.
Very sweet.
All right, and let's see if we can do an 8-point roll. There we go.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right, how about a clover leaf? This is an old barnstormer's maneuver, and if you have a smoke system on board, it looks like you're drawing a big clover leaf in the sky.
Right.
It uses up a lot of airspace over the ground, so you don't see it done at air shows very much because they're a little bit more restricted about how much space they can use. But this airplane does it particularly graceful. We use about 1,000 feet of sky between the top and the bottom of the maneuver.
Wow.
And our speed goes all the way from just below stall speed all the way to the top of the green arc at 185 miles an hour. And here, we'll hit the lucky 4th leaf. There we go.
Wow, it's tough though.
Well, how was that?
That was absolutely great, man.
Well, that puts us right where we need to be to head back.
Okay.
And we'll level the wings here and I'll let you fly us back. You've got the controls.
All right.
We're going to keep our speed up. We're doing about 175 indicated. That'll give us a nice shallow descent. We're going to continue on down to about 3,000 feet or so. And this heading will head us back towards the Kissimmee Airport. You can see again as we're now down below the clouds, it's a little bit bumpier than it was. We'll keep that nose down so we keep our descent going, keep the speed up. We do all of our descents in this airplane with the power left at cruise. Your elevator trim is over there on the left-hand side if you need it. And we need to come back to the left a little bit.
What heading?
Oh, that heading is going to be about 050 degrees. Now remember, the directional gyro up there has been disconnected because the aerobatics will ruin them. So all 3 gyros are labeled in-op. Mostly we're flying by landmarks, so we need to come back to the left just a little bit, and we need to put that nose down and descend right on down to 3,000 feet. Well, it's just been an absolutely beautiful day today. That lake up ahead of us is Lake Toho. Real popular lake for fishing. You can see over towards the left edge of it, those two islands out there. That first island used to be a zoo, and then the second one actually has an orange grove on it. And we want to, if you want to turn to the left and aim to fly right over those islands, that'll get us on our initial setup for the traffic pattern. Okay. And we can level off here at 2,500 feet for a little bit. Now what we're going to do when we get to the airport is we're not going to fly the downwind base and final. We're going to come in and do the overhead brake approach, which means we're going to fly over the top of the runway at about 1,000 feet. And then we're going to do a spiraling descent, just like they do coming down to an aircraft carrier, all the way down to touchdown. And it's a Navy approach actually developed by the British for landing on aircraft carriers, because they found when they were trying to land the Corsairs on carriers, they can't see straight ahead. So flying a straight-in approach did not work. So by doing a constant turning approach, you keep that runway or the aircraft carrier off to the side where you can see it to better judge your approach.
All right.
So then it was adopted by most all the other navies around the world, as well as our Air Force actually does the same type of approach. Often, even today with the jets, which is, with a jet you sit up in the nose with the motor in the back, and so you have good over-the-nose visibility, but it just works out to be a very nice approach to fly, so.
Do the tactical pitch up?
Yeah, they call it that too, when they come down a little bit lower and faster and pitch up into it. We just come in straight at 1,000 feet. And we're going to initially come in at 1,500 feet, which puts us 500 feet above the other traffic, the downwind base and final. We'll be flying over that traffic pattern. Our speed coming into the pattern is doing about 160 miles an hour, where the average Cessnas and Pipers are flying about 90. It'd be very hard on this big radial engine to pull the power back that much and try to slow down to fly with the other airplanes. Let's see, we can descend now down to 2,000 feet.
We're 80 Foxtrot Tango, runway 33, clear touch and go, on the go, left traffic.
Clear touch and go, left traffic, 80 Foxtrot Tango.
Simi Tower, Texan 2 is 8.5 miles south inbound.
Texan 2, Kissimmee Tower, 0.1 mile initial, runway 33.
All right, 1 mile initial for 33, Texan 2. All right, David, let's continue all the way down to 1,500 feet. You go ahead and push that nose right on down. You see the airport's at about 11 o'clock there in the distance.
Kissimmee Tower, Seneca 1519, Tango on the VOR DME Alpha approach for Kissimmee. Seneca 1519, Tango Kissimmee Tower, roger, continue inbound report, 18 DME, maintain that at about 1,500 throughout the approach. We'll report 1.8 DME and maintain 2,000 on the approach, 1519, Tango.
There's been a lot of growth out here in the last 3 or 4 years.
Keep going further out the play.
Yep. All right, we can level off at 1,500 feet, just about there. You see the runway over there to the left? All right, we're going to keep on this heading, and then we're going to make a left turn to line up with the center line of the runway and level at 1,500 feet. Good, there's our altitude. There, we can start a shallow turn to the left. That'll line us up with the runway.
Texan 2, 1,000 foot's approved. You make a long break, right break, and a short approach, runway 33, you're clear to land.
All right, clear to land with a right break, long landing, Texan 2. All right, good. Yeah, we're going to come right on down to 1,000 feet, and then we're going to level off and fly right over the runway. So there's our 1,000 feet, so we'll bring the nose up, level off, and fly right over the runway.
Who else was trying to call? Kissimmee Tower, 1519 Tango's 4 out.
Now you can see why we don't want to make a straight-in approach. That airport just about vanishes under the cowling of this airplane, especially when you're slowed down and that nose comes up.
1519 Tango would like to land.
So they would come up behind the wake of the aircraft carrier and follow it up. And then when they flew over the boat, they would start their brake. In this case, we're going to do a right-hand brake.
Tango, Roger, you can start your, I'll tell you what, maintain 1,500. I'm going to bring you over top of the airport and circle you to the right for a right base. Roger, we'll maintain 1,500.
All right.
For the right base.
All right, are you ready for the right brake? All right, go ahead and start a right-hand turn. Go ahead and bank it right on over. All right, we'll bring the nose up just a little bit. And I've got the airplane. Okay. We're going to keep this right turn going. The airplane's going to slow down. Now we're going to bring the flaps down. The airplane has split flaps like a Spitfire or a B-17, so they only come out the bottom surface of the wing. Now we'll verify landing gear is down and locked. Flaps are down. Trims. Set for landing. Mixture is full rich. And we are cleared to land. You see this constant curving approach keeps that runway in sight for us all the way down to touchdown.
Texan 2, clear to land. I got one holding at the approach end there.
All right, Texan 2, we got him.
Okay, 1519 Tango, you can descend at your discretion and right traffic and report right base, please. Okay, it's on our discretion, and we'll report a right base for 1519 Tango. Texan 2, down to the end left turn, ground point, so TW.
Texan 2.
Recording?
Yes, we sure are.
I have to tell.
Yeah, let me reset the squelch there. Go ahead.
Okay. I have to tell Maria, thank you for this wonderful gift. It's the greatest thing I've ever got. I love you.
All right. Well, here we go. We're going to clear the runway right here.
There'll be a Cessna departing prior to arrival. Clear to land runway 33, 1519 Tango. Cessna 23868, report midfield left down 1 step check.
Yeah, you go ahead and slide that canopy right on back. It gets pretty warm in here once you're on the ground. Actually, anything below 1,000 feet in the summer is pretty warm here in Florida.
Yeah.
These hangars over here on the left, this first one, they keep two P-51 or TA-51s in there.
Yeah.
They also have a Spitfire and a Focke-Wulf 190 replica.
Sweet. Is that where Crazy Horse lives?
Yep, Crazy Horse and Crazy Horse 2. The center hangar here, they keep the OV-10 Bronco in there.
Uh-huh.
And then this last hangar has a P-38 that they're just about have ready to fly.
Oh, wow. Does Jack Roush keep his TF-51 at Spruce Creek Fly-In, do you know?
I have no idea.
I know he has one. I know he has a place in the Fly-In, but I don't know if it's there.
Yeah. All right, David, there we go.
Very sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.